feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to be back again tonight on this Saturday night. Yeah, fun to be back. Wasn't here yesterday, although I almost did a live show really late because of that breaking news that happened. It must have been like 11 p.m. No, it must have been even later than, yeah, maybe 11 p.m. Pacific time. And we had that new thing. They were going to raid a house, and there was people that had been shot or something, and I was really close to coming on, and then it all just fizzled out in like under an hour. That we were supposed to get a press conference, and then they're like, "Nah, you're not getting a press conference." Then they're like, "Oh, we're going to give you a written statement," and then that didn't happen either. They didn't give the statement on that either. And then we got told really late into the night that the FBI had requested that there is no details to be given out. And then we find out this morning that this raid was basically the same thing that happened a few nights ago. They raided someone's house, they found someone, they questioned them, and then they let them go. So no closer to finding Nancy Guthrie, no closer. No big leads, no person who might have done it, no finding the woman herself, which is yeah, just really sad that we're about to go into past week 2 now and into the third week of this. 3 weeks of this woman being out there and nothing. We just don't have her, don't have an individual we can point at. It's been a funny couple of days in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Yeah, it's been really annoying. Here, I'm just going up here. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I will talk about this in a minute because it is very interesting. Hey guys, good to see you. Good to see you out there. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, there's your answer. There's your answer. Um, yeah, this is interesting. So Brian Enton has been reporting that investigators have used what is called a signal sniffer. It is a small device that was sent in and attached to the sheriff's helicopter. It can detect Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker signal. The helicopter has to stay low and move slowly for it to work. That is very an interesting use of technology to try and find anything. The thing that I would come up with is there something they know, a very specific frequency for her pacemaker? Because I think they're all slightly different, right? Depending on what condition you have, how many beats, or what they need to actually achieve with the pace. Um, is it possible that her one's so unique that you could actually detect it? Because you would think in Arizona, Arizona is a snowbird area. So it's a place where people often move from the colder parts of the USA, like Florida, and they often move there in their older age. There would be a lot of people in the local area who would have a pacemaker. It wouldn't just be Nancy Guthrie. It's not like, oh, we have one person in the entire of Tucson who had a pacemaker. I think it would be hundreds of people, if not more than that. So I would like to know what is so specific about her pacemaker that they think they can find it. What is it? Because I'm not sure how they work, but I wonder if they're each sort of slightly different depending on the medical condition. That's what I sort of guess is maybe what it is. Here, let me have a look. Is there anything else we can find out about pacemakers? Let's have a look. Are they like individual? there's stupid things like this on Facebook. Here, let me show you. You'll see a lot of like AI stuff like this. In a chilling turn, Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker is found 30 kilometers from her home by a river. These sort of clickbait AI rubbish is infiltrating social media, and the reason why they're like this is because it generates views and clicks, and you'll click it because you want to know if her pacemaker has been found, which it has not. um and they earn money from this. They earn money from engagement and stuff like that. So very annoying that these type of things are around. But I just searched Nancy Guthrie pacemaker, and that was like one of the first results that came up. But I wanted to know if there was like a specific frequency. Yeah, here. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Me using my hand like I'm cooking pasta. Let's see. Um, okay. In this article from Yahoo News, they talk about pacemakers, and they say here that they're quite common, fairly common, and they said here uh, they put a pacemaker in so her heart doesn't fluctuate. I want to know more about the actual technology behind it. A pacemaker essentially has a remote monitoring system, so a patient gets a box that is taken to their home and set up. This box is set up to transmit either through Wi Fi or radio frequency through the internet to a server that goes to the doctor's office. He went on to explain that the pacemaker would ping to the box at a certain time of day and send the data through to the doctor. Hmm. Interesting. In this particular case, we know that typically if you have a pacemaker, a defibrillator, or any type of implantable device that regulates heart rhythm or heart rate, every day, once a day, there'll be a transmission that is done remotely, spooling all the information from the prior 24 hours. Maybe that is what they're looking for. That frequency that is trying to call home. So that's what it basically does. It calls home. It's trying to find home. What is home? Home is the black box. So that's what it's trying to do. It's going, hey, where's the black box? Hey, I can't find it. I want to send this data through. We have a lot of data from 24 hours that we want to send to the doctor, and it's constantly searching for that black box. Probably if it misses one, it probably keeps going and tries like every hour to try and get that data through. So good, interesting. A bit closer on this now. Radio freak. Okay, box is set up 10 minutes. All right, let's have a look. What would be the frequency? Uh, okay. So, medical devices all work on the same band, and it is a band for medical implant communication services or mics, and it's a specific band 402 to 405 megahertz. So that is the only range it would be in, because it's they what they do is they sort of section off the bandwidth for certain things, and this is one that is sectioned off just for medical implants. So nothing else can be on this sort of frequency. Very interesting. Radio blend or directly with a smartphone. Okay, what's going on? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Sorry, Mrs. Ping is going out. And I was like, why are you back? And she left and then she came back. So I was trying to figure out what was going on. Juicy Jules says, "Ping into house, all join in." Yeah, Juicy Jules. There you go. So there you go. There's a bit of an explanation. What can we find out about this Mike's band 402 to 405 megahertz? Let's have a look. So that frequency is the frequency between the pacemaker and the box, and apparently, it can be done via Wi-Fi, Apple Watch, but it has a fallback to this radio frequency. So very interesting. That must be what they're looking for. It doesn't sound like it is unique though. It sounds like that this is um common, like everyone who has an implant, a medical implant that requires data by that requires medical data to be. Yeah, yeah, go. Okay, you check your phone. All right. Hold on. All right, we're back. We're back. She's gone. The evil woman who who wanted me to check my phone is gone. All right, no, she's all right. She will be back. Did we just clip out of all this? My my stupid mouse is going crazy. All right, here we go. I want to check out this eco document on the pacemaker bandwidth. Okay, frequency bands 102 and okay. Existing radio communication system and services. Okay, it seems like they use two different bandings, 401 to 402 megahertz and 405 to 406, depending on what it is. And they call these ultra low power active medical implants or a ULP AMI. And what are they saying here? They're saying that these bands were selected for emerging medical implant technologies using ultra low power, and those frequency bands have a relatively low ambient noise due to its primary usage by meter like weather aids, meteorological. Why? Oh, okay. That banding can also be used by weather devices. Weird. Yeah, relative to I don't know. Weird that they use also weather reporting on that band. What do they say here? Hold on. Ultra low medical. Yeah, okay. What do they do? Let's go down to the medical bit, not the meter like the weather bit. Let's go down to the medical. No, we don't want to know about this. This paper is the paper I'm reading about here. It's actually they're talking about how weather instruments who report back also on low frequency and low power may interfere with medical devices in the home. But they're saying because the medical devices in a home are they're short-lived on the band, so they don't go very far because most times it's someone within their home transmitting to a box. It doesn't have to go like across like miles as where uh stuff for weather forecasting reporting has to go longer distances, so they think that they don't cross associate with each other. So okay, doesn't mean anything for what we need, but interesting analysis. All right, we don't need that. We want no, we want this. We want the medical implant band. Review of medical implants. All right. Because I want to know why they think that they would be able to find it. It doesn't make sense to me when you have people that might have glaucoma, diabetes monitors, like the ones they wear in the arm. There's all sorts of different implants that people could wear that probably transmit over an RF signal. Let's have a look. Yeah, like defibrillators, pacemakers, neurostimulators, drug pumps, and baclofen pumps are used under this band. Interesting. This is why. Because over this particular band, the 401 to 406 megahertz radio frequency, they only design them to transmit up to 2 meters. So that is why that helicopter has to be really low to the ground, because if even if they're like 1,000 feet off the ground, it'd be very difficult for them to pick up that frequency. So that's the problem we are having, I think. Sean said, I watched a true crime show where they identified a body through his pacemaker. Must have been prior to DNA. They can do that when they actually find someone, because when you are implanted with something, it has a serial number and it's on a database of who got that. Even girls who get the bigger boobies, they have serial numbers in it, and they can find out who it was. Um, they don't have her, well, they probably know her serial number, but they're just trying to pick up the call home signal of her pacemaker. So it's almost like looking for a needle in a haystack, because you don't know anything else. You don't know the location. You don't know exactly where she is, how far off the ground, all these different variabilities. Um, Lisbeth said, "Why not use a drone that can fly much lower?" That's very interesting. Why they're using a helicopter and not a drone. A drone you could fly just above people's homes with a lot more skill precision. But a helicopter, you can't fly a helicopter 3 meters over someone's home. They would get very, very upset. So I would like to know that too. Why not a drone? You think she's somewhere in the desert? It's a good guess. SP1 said, I heard a rumor that was benign. I had a, I don't know if you had a rumor. I think you might have had a tumor. You had a tumor that was benign, and they left a tiny, tiny marker in there with info for the next doctor if they see it. That's pretty cool. I've never heard of that before. Hey, thank you for thanks for saving me from cleaning my house. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Um, Joe says gifted 5 membership. Thanks, buddy. How you doing? I appreciate it. And he became a member again too. Thank you so much. I am very thankful. It's very kind. Oh, while we're talking about that subject, um, I want to thank my friend Penguin. Penguin was so kind to send in a donation, even on a night when I wasn't live. So thank you, my friend Penguin. That is very, very kind of you. And that will go towards the Samantha Murphy trial in April. So I think we're about $800 or $900 away from having the cash that we need. So we've raised about 50%. So I appreciate the fact you guys did 50% in a couple of weeks. I couldn't ask for better viewers. That's amazing. Hey Hoodoo, how are you? All right, let's have a look. Let's get off the topic of money because I hate that. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's show you a diagram of how this works. All right. So this sort of shows you how this works. Now, they're saying the mics band communication, and then it has multiple ways to communicate. So there's the bandwidth one, IMD one, and then it goes through mics and other comm systems through a PC. And then it goes through the GSM CDMA. So GSM CDMA, that's your like I don't know what you guys call it in America. Your like mobile bandwidth, cell phone bandwidth. It's the same technology. Like when you're out of your home and you use your phone, and you're on the internet. That's what GSM CDMA is. It's a way of communicating over the telephone towers. And then PSTN is a very old telecommunications standard. It's still used today, but not as often anymore. PSTN is sort of, you can see in the diagram, it's sent to a phone. So the doctor might um, pick up the phone and it'll be like an automated message and it'll be like, patient, Sandra, whatever, her rate for today, all in green zone, heart rate stable. Will, wait for 24 hours for another communication. It might be something as simple as that, or it could be text on a screen on a phone. Some of the more advanced office phones actually can get text messages onto the display on the phone. So it could be something like that too. And then the one that everyone knows, internet Wi-Fi. So these implants are pretty cool. They can communicate across multiple different platforms to make sure that that information gets back to the medical team. That's I had no idea it was that involved. I thought it was just like you went to the doctor, they gave you a pacemaker, and they were like, "Cheerio," and sent you off to go live your life. I had no idea it reported back every day. It sends it directly to the hospital computer. Well, this one says it can send it to the doctor's phone too, like a telephone. So there you go. This one, that's what it says. What else do they say here? Apparently, it's been around since the 1980s, and in the last decade, a core band free RF frequency of 402 to 405 with two wing bands of 401 to 402, 405 to 406 megahertz. That means they want it in that range, 102 to 101 to 102. Oh, sorry, 401 to 402 and 405 to 406 megahertz. They don't really want it swinging across the other ranges. Why? I don't know. Seems like there is some interference from other technology. And so in Australia, it's slightly different. 403 to 405 megahertz is what is used down here. But in America, they use the two that we just talked about. Let's see if we can find it. So they call it two types of mic devices: low power, low duty cycle without listen before talk, and then adaptive frequency agility, and then high power LBT AFA. Okay. So I'm guessing if this helicopter is flying around looking for Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker, they are looking for somewhere in the range of 401 megahertz, and they may even scan the entire frequency, 401 to 405. I just don't know how you differentiate it between someone else with a pacemaker that lives in the area. And like we just told you before, there's a lot of elderly people who have moved to Arizona for the heat and the dry climate. A lot of people have pacemakers. So I would like to know how they do that. Gail said a computer sends a warning if something is wrong to the doctors. Yep, that's what it would do. They have the frequency of your heart. They can turn off your pacemaker. That's a scary proposition in America where if you don't pay your health insurance, do they just turn it off? They're like, oh, your payment to Medical One did not go through on the 18th of July this year. We're going to have to turn the pacemaker off until you can pay for your health insurance. I hope that's not what happens to people. I hope they don't, you know, force people to pay their medical insurance in the fear that they might turn off your um, pacemaker. All right. So that's a bit of an explanation of what they could be looking for. Let's see if we can find the helicopter that can do this. RF signal helicopter. I want to see what kind of helicopter this could be. Here. Low flying helicopters equipped with sensors are sometimes deployed in Arizona, and they're saying here they can be used actually to detect. They're normally used to detect nuclear signatures around big events like the Super Bowl, and they're normally used for that to detect what is background noise and what might be something that is a threat. And they're saying here the helicopters that do this normally fly in a grid pattern, sometimes as low as 150 feet. The helicopters are equipped with many different types of sensors, including gamma ray detection. Interesting. We don't want gamma rays. We want we want something that can sniff out a pacemaker. I want to see if we can find this. Hmm. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to find out if we can find, like, get a photo of the actual unit that they are using, but I don't know if I can. That might be why this guy was maybe sitting on the edge of the helicopter weeks ago. So during the first part of the search, they had a helicopter that was circling very, very low, just above, the tree line. And this guy was just sitting on the edge of the helicopter the entire time. I wonder if they were using that device back then too to try and search around her home if she was out the back or in the desert area nearby. But, I can't actually find a photo of the one they used today. But News Nation had a very similar photo up here. I'll show you their, thumbnail that they used, and they had a very similar one to the one I just showed you. This is their thumbnail from today from News Nation, and they had here, very similar, the guy sitting out the door of the helicopter, and there is something above him. I don't know if that is the actual scanner that they're using. Might be. It looks like some sort of sensor or something to detect things. I don't know which one it is, but there you go. They used a very similar photograph of it. So we'll have to see. Pacemakers have batteries. They can scan the battery. I don't think they could from 150 feet in the air. They might be able to scan a battery if they actually had the pacemaker, but I don't think you can pick up a battery signal that far up. Caligo said someone mentioned a signal sniffer. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about like how they would do it. What are they looking for? And we found out that it's a very specific band from medical devices that they're trying to pick up. And then I questioned it saying, well, how do they know it is her one? That's what I would like to know. Yeah, I'll go to the News Nation article. Maybe they have more information on it. That did not work. It just gave me a blank page. Hold on. Let's go to. No, that's not it. All right, here we go. They say authorities have used a device known as a signal sniffer mounted to a helicopter in an attempt to detect Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker. They say the relatively compact technology was on the skid of the Pima County, Arizona Sheriff's Department helicopter, so it's on the bottom part. Interesting. Um, They said, with regards to this particular tool, I do know that Pacemaker sends off a very short distance alert or whatever. So they're going to have to get really close. Like we read in the documentation for pacemakers, it's only designed for 2 meters of transmission. So I don't know unless there's a way to use the tool that they have to boost their detection. So the signal won't come to you because it only goes 2 meters, but they might be able to amplify their detection to get down to ground level, and then they might be able to detect it that way. So, if something won't come to you, you have to go to it, and they can't fly a helicopter on the ground, so maybe the actual signal sniffer mounted on the helicopter maybe be able to boost it and get closer to ground level. I really would love a photo of it. Let me see if I can find one. Everyone's using the same photo of that helicopter, and I don't see anything on that thumbnail. I don't see anything where they said it should be. There's nothing on. Do you guys see anything on the bottom of that helicopter on the skid there? There's something here, but I don't know if that is what they're talking about. I don't see a device that is mounted to that area of the helicopter. So it makes me wonder if that is not the one that was up there today. Brian has a baby face and gray hair. I think he might be one. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen a photo of Brian Enton when he was younger? I've never seen one. Brian Enton young. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, that's a cool photo of Brian. Oh yeah, he had darker hair when he was younger. There's him with his dog. It's not a good photo though. There we go. But there's Brian with his lovable dog. Yeah, I just think he's a dude with gray hair. I actually think it really suits him. I think he does the whole silver hair. Like it looks like that's what he should have. If you ask me. There you go. There's Brian with some darker hair. I actually think he looks better with the silver. I think it really suits him. And if you showed me him with dark hair, I wouldn't know it was him. I'd be like, "Who is that guy? That's not Brian." I actually really like him with the silver better than the dark. I think it just suits him. It doesn't age him. He looks, just as young as he always does, and I don't think it's a negative for him at all. Uh, Professor Hoodoo, hey Hoodoo, Michael Feldman is the key to it all. Could be, could be. Kim said he's very gray for his age. There's like there is people on this earth that have it's something about the way their hair colors, and it actually is mostly affecting women, and they can go gray from like 15, and by the time they're in their mid 20s, they're completely silver, and it affects women more than it does men, but men can be affected too. So maybe Brian has that gene. So yeah, there's women who have had it from when they're in high school. It just doesn't affect a ton of people. I can't remember how many in the population have it, but yeah, it's a common thing. It's yeah, your aunts had it. Yeah, there's some people that go gray, while they're quite young. So it's just a thing. My aunts had that. That's pretty cool. Like Richard Gere, yeah. There was a famous TV presenter in Canada, and she had it, and she went gray at like 21, and she was completely silver. And you'll know the people that get it because they don't go gray, they go silver. Not really like that gray. They go that almost like platinum silver. And the people that have this thing, they're the ones who, yeah, they're the ones who have it. They go more of a silver color. Lisa said, "My dad went from black to gray within a few weeks of my mum dying." Probably the stress of it all, I would imagine. Anyway, let's not talk about Brian anymore. He'll probably be very embarrassed. He doesn't like it when people talk about him. He likes it when people talk about his work. So we should probably stop talking about it. I don't want to add any more embarrassment to his life. All right, let's keep going. All right, what are we talking about here? Pacemaker medication. Yeah, we talked about that. Yep. All right. All right. let's move on. So, other than that, what is going on right now? Well, not a lot. Those people were arrested, not arrested, detained last night, and they were questioned, and that was it. They were let go, very much like what happened to Carlos the other day. And we're sort of back to square one again. So everyone got all in a frazzle last night. Everyone got excited. Oh my god, it's really happening. This is it. And again, we got left holding the bag with nothing inside. So where do we go from here? I really don't know. And now that we're in the 2 week territory going into week 3, I don't know what is a realistic outcome here now. Is it a recovery? Is it a rescue? Could she, the one thing we haven't heard from the authorities, is there actually any percentage that Nancy Guthrie is still alive? Normally, by this point, they would have told us, we believe the chance of survival has now diminished. But at this point in time, they really haven't told us whether they believe she could survive this long without her medication and other things she needs for her health, and if there is any survivability at all. And I guess maybe because they don't know, is she in the desert? Is she in a home where someone's taking care of her? I guess it would depend on where she might be. But 2 weeks is a long time for a woman of this age to be out and away from her normal routine. They're saying here that the biggest thing that we might be able to do anything with is the DNA that they found inside Nancy's home that doesn't belong to anyone, not her family, not the workers who come over, not the doctors. It belongs to someone outside of that circle. That may end up being the thing that we ends up finding who did this. The other thing we'd like to know is how to bring her home. And I don't know if you've seen this already, you might have. There is a big banner outside of, I think it's NBC 4 in Tucson, and it says, Bring her home. And they put out this big banner, and people are going there and they're signing it and leaving messages for her. That is really touching that they did that, and that the community is coming out to leave messages and uh, you know things she could read if they can bring her home. Warner still said it depends on who has her and if they care enough to keep her going. I think the thing we got to worry about is if someone has taken her and these ransom notes have nothing to do with the people who actually took her, then what do the people want? If there is a kidnapper, then what do they want? Because it's not one Bitcoin. Why would you go through all this for a single Bitcoin? That guy that wrote that letter the other day saying, I know who the person is. I can tell you who kidnapped Nancy Guthrie. Just give me one Bitcoin. The reward is $100,000. It is worth 1.5 Bitcoin. They could just claim the reward and end all of this. So it tells me that is not real. So if someone has her and is keeping her alive, what do they want? Because it's not money. There's been no ransom demand other than the ones from like 2 weeks ago. They haven't followed up on them. There's been no like, hey, where's my $6 million? I don't see it. And if you don't have it, I'm gonna start, firing shots or something. There's been nothing like that. So what do they want, if anything at all? And that's the question that I can't sort of get past. If someone is holding her for this period of time, what are you going through all this effort for? Is it just to make a statement? That doesn't make sense either. There's been no manifesto, there's been no writings or a message, political or otherwise. There's been nothing like that. So what is it? I would like to know. I don't know if you guys know, but I don't. Kim said he snuck in with the police on the street. Yeah, I saw that from Brian last night. Apparently, they were so quiet, they were able to sort of hang out right in front of the home. And then it took about 20 minutes for the authorities to realize that two reporters were in a car and they had to kick him out. They end up getting booted out. So, yeah, I saw that and it reads like uh, a scam. It's just a scam. What you abducted a woman, 84 years old, so you could get two payments of 50K in Bitcoin, and they promise they won't withdraw it until the person is returned. It just sounds like someone who is desperate to get a payment, but not for this. It sounds like a scammer. Like, oh, maybe if I keep giving them, incentives to pay the money, maybe they'll give me the money. Because what are you going to do once the Bitcoin is paid? The Bitcoin's paid. What is a promise of I'm not going to touch it going to do? They could just take it. What are you going to do? Yell at them? Be like, that guy, that criminal who emailed us for a ransom, he broke his promise. He told us he wasn't going to take it, but he took it. What what is that going to do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's frustrating. I know we have to put some degree of you know, l- you have to take it seriously. But I just don't believe it means anything. Yeah, I know. I showed you the email. I showed you the email from the Epstein files. It reads exactly the same. It's like a script. All these scammers, Bitcoin scammers, they have a script that they use to try and manipulate the other side. Look, I've shown it to you guys a million times already, but I'll put it back up on the screen. And if you can't put two and two together, I can't help you anymore. Where is it? Where is it? I got too many photos. Is it this one? Oh, yeah, open. Nope, that's not it. There we go. It's very similar to this. Please arrange for one Bitcoin by 6 p.m. today. Like, the USB will be sent anonymously to your attention by overnight courier upon receipt of the funds. You have my assurance. Like, it's just the same type of wording as this. And, they make it seem so juicy. Here is the video footage of Jeffrey Epstein. And oh my God, I have information about two people buried on the ranch. They just make it sound a slightly legitimate to the point where someone might be dumb enough to pay it. And I reckon that's exactly what's going on here. If you took an 84-year-old woman, her daughter is a national celebrity. I don't think I would be walking around asking for 50K of Bitcoin or whatever. Like, it would be, I want $25 million or I'm going to kill this, lady. I'm going to kill her. Look, here's a gun. Here's a photo. This gun at her head. Don't want me to shoot her? Send me the money. Like, there's none of that. Like, that's what a kidnapper would actually do. They would send a video with a gun to her head and be like, you didn't pay it? Okay, we're going to shoot her now. Like, there's no pressure. There's no pressure from these people, and that's what seems wrong here. There's no pressurization. That's the whole point of a kidnapping, is to pressurize your victim. That's what you want to do. Hold on. Uh, hey, what's wrong? There you go. Sorry, she's like, "Oh, I'm trying to get your lunch," and they're, like, sold out. 'Cause she was off to get me some lunch while she was out, and she's like, "They're completely sold out," and I was like, doesn't matter. We'll just get something else later." So, yeah, she's off doing shopping. She's off to get a skirt or something. I don't know what she wants. Yeah, I will pass on your love for her. Betsy said TMZ are idiots as well as the sheriff. They sent the ransom note to a gossip rag. That doesn't make any sense to me either. I just whatever's going on here and whatever we end up finding out happened to Nancy Guthrie, I don't think we're going to find out that it was a normal kidnapping because it just hasn't gone that way the entire time. And I don't want to talk in like fake rumors or anything like that. It's more, I feel bad for saying this, but it's almost like it's more likely that someone may have hurt her and dumped her somewhere because we're not seeing that. Like I said before, I stopped and had to talk to Mrs. Ping. Um, there's like no pressurization, there's no demand. The only things we're seeing is stuff like this. And that's not what I would think when you've got this person. What are they doing for 2 weeks? 2 weeks they're just hanging out. They're like, we're gonna have fun with Granny over here. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna play bridge and canasta. We're gonna be doing fun things. We're gonna take her down, play some like, slot machines. Like why? Like the idea of a kidnapping is to get in and get out. You try and take your victim, you get your money, and you get to Tijuana. Not this, not screwing around for 2 weeks. Kelly said the sheriff said if it takes days, weeks, of years to find her, we won't stop looking. That's not as reassuring as he meant it, I don't think. I think it's because they don't know. They don't know what really happened to her. Like they might know what happened at the home, but I don't think they know what happened after she left that home. And that's the bit that they can't quite figure out. Um, Betsy said, I think it's much deeper the reason, not for money, obviously. It doesn't seem like it's monetary. If it was monetary, they would have already like it would have already happened. This whole like, oh, we put 300 bucks in Bitcoin in the wallet, like no, just no. Kelly J said agree ping, that's why that statement is concerning. I just feel like if it was a robbery too, they would have taken valuable things from her home. They would have ransacked that home. Not that we know what the inside looks like, but I wonder if that would have come out by now that the home was ransacked, that valuables were taken. But we haven't really heard much about that. No urgency for money. No, like time is just ticking by. You have a lady who's not in poor health, but needs maintenance medication and you're just letting her tick by, not getting her help. There's nothing going on. Like it just is bizarre. And there's just something that we all don't know. Maybe even the officers don't know either. But there is something going on um, that it's like the opposite of a kidnapping. Like, even some of the weirder kidnappings that have happened in history, there's always been, like, a proper demand. There's been, like, "We want the president of the United States to withdraw the troops from" I don't know, name a country. There's always been some sort of, like, crazy demand that they want, and this one, there isn't. This just sounds like people trying to scam money from whoever. Um, all around that area have tunnels. That is true. They have found a bunch of them over the years. They have found heaps of tunnels. I can show you a photo of them. Where is it? I don't know if they've found any recently, but they had found them over the years that bridge the border. Like there's like this one and there's quite a lot of them that take years and years for the authorities to end up finding, and you're like, "How did they build all of this without anyone noticing?" They even put in, like, a train track so they could wheel. heavy things through the mine. Um, this was for drug running. This was so they could get drugs under the border into America, but you could use it for people trafficking or a kidnap. Like who knows? But yeah, there are definitely tunnels. Yeah, they're very cool. They've you think of all the engineering that went into it, and you go, it's so impressive, even though it's very illegal. Very illegal, hurts communities, hurts people, hurts the USA. I just think it's like the structure of it. It's it's just like that's a lot of work. That's a ton of work someone put into it, and you can tell it's been used for a long time. Um, Rachel said, I think this was an abduction, not a kidnapping. So they just abducted her and then killed her because that's what an abduction normally means. Marilyn said, this woman did a sketch of what the person would look like without the mask. How the fuck would you know? They're wearing a mask. Like, you're guessing from facial features that are obscured by a mask. I think that's like, oh, I fed it through AI and I told AI to remove the mask and show me what the kidnapper looks like. That's all over TikTok right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. It just sounded really bizarre. Like, how would you know? The guy could have, who knows? Like, he could have any number of facial features. He could have a tattoo on his face that you guys would not be able to find because you can't see it. He could have piercings. He could have an eyebrow piercing. I don't know. Could have a nose septum piercing. Sorry, Marilyn Landis. I feel bad. I didn't mean to swear at Marilyn Landis. Um, Linux said there is an incredible FBI artist who nearly drew the Unabomber apart from his mustache. That is true. There was that one too. Um, she's been on Web Sleuths and she's fantastic. Yeah, I'm sure she is. I just, I don't know. It's a to me, it is a pseudo science. Like if you're doing missing people, or say there was a little girl and she was kidnapped, but end up being let go, and they brought in a woman like that, and they're like, talk to the little girl, and she'll tell you what the kidnapper looks like, and you're going to draw it. Yeah, that's great. I think that's a real skill, and those people are extremely talented. But trying to draw someone with the mask on, I don't know. I think that's a bit of like throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping you're right later on. Um, yeah, the Kelly says, yeah, but the hair really threw me. No way for her to know that apart. That's all guessing. Yeah. Yeah, she can't yeah, you can't know. Can't know unless someone's gonna give us more details like he has long hair and he's actually a white guy. Like it's very difficult. Um Rachel said people are running with the sketch saying it's a direct sketch of the perp and that is dangerous. It is dangerous because you're basically saying that is who we're looking for. And if that ends up being completely wrong, you're a part of that. It's like when, do you remember when we had the Boston Marathon bombing and people were going through the footage and they're like, that's the guy right there. And it ended up being, they connected it with like the photo to someone else on Facebook and it ended up not being them and it ruined their life. I mean, I just don't want to be a part of that. I'll wait. I'll wait until they have more to give us. I don't want to try and say that a guy with a mask on looks any different way. The hair is basically a little boy's haircut. Okay. Yeah, she in other cases, I reckon she's probably done amazing things that deserve probably awards and medals and, you know, a lot of love, but I just don't agree in this one. Hey Mika, how are you? Motive is not kidnapping, ransom, or robbery. They are cartels that wanted to disappear Nancy. The cartels in Mexico and the US are at war now. I think the US and Mexico and the cartels have been at war for about 40 years or more. Kelly said even the mainstream media has been having her on News Nation showing the sketch last night. Let's have a look at this sketch. I've not seen it. Let's have a look. Okay, I see it. How do I get it on the screen? There we go. Um, so her name is Lois Gibson. Is that the lady you guys are talking about? Lois Gibson? Here's a sketch. I mean, it could look like this. I don't know. I mean, about the only thing we have of this guy is a little bit around the eyes and a little bit around the mouth with the beard and that. So, what if it ends up being a white guy or a black guy? Do you is that some sort of racial profiling then if you're wrong? Because this guy sort of looks like, and I don't want to be racist, but it's almost like you're racially vilifying a certain percentage of the population. I mean, I she's very talented. The sketch is very good, but I'm just not. Yeah, in other cases where they've had to take something that's like degraded, like when they find a dead body and they're like, we don't know who it is, no idea, and they try and get a sketch done of what they might look like. I think that's what this lady might have done a lot of. Those are really cool, and that is a real skill. This one, I don't know. I wouldn't even be able to tell you if I think this is correct because I don't know. Um, you can do a side by side of a Rio Rico father. He does look like that. That is true. The Rio Rico father sort of does look like him. Here, what's his name? Carlos. I have him here. It does sort of look like him a little bit. Carlos Alberto. We've had him before. I don't think it does. Here's the son. I don't know. The dad's photo, it doesn't look like him. There is the son. I feel like she's guessing based on the description of this that the cops are obviously looking for a certain type of person. So she's just taken the guesswork from there and added it to her sketch. That's my opinion anyway. They've been, while not cleared, I think the sheriff has made it clear that no one is cleared, that they have interviewed people and let them go, but no one has been cleared. I think the dad, eh, it looks more like the son compared to the dad. Here, I can go to the father's photo if I can get it. Yep, here. God, my mouse is just having a hard time. There you go. There's the dad, or at least what we think. I don't know if we've ever got confirmation of that, but this is a guy with the same name that's older. There you go. I don't know. You guys, if you think it's correct, it might be. You might get really close. Um, I would just feel bad if it ends up. I don't know. Someone's gonna take that sketch and they're gonna be like, I found the dude on Instagram. That's him. Oh my god, let's track him down. It's gonna happen. I promise. It's someone is gonna do that. Kelly said, so for like, I see people and Ping refer to Gayla in the chat, and I was thinking, does she have me blocked? I don't see Gayla. I got it now, Angela. Oh, yeah. She used to have a different name. I don't know why she changed it. It now says Angela, but it used to say Gayla. And yeah, she put the full thing on there. Rachel said, I will wait till we have a mugshot. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the pseudo sciences, unfortunately. I like to deal with facts. This it sort of goes against everything I stand for. Blaze said the ears are too big. You would notice the lips, nose, is through the hat. All right. Let's go to the CCTV. All right. We have the and that's what she has to work with. I feel like she took the arrest of Carlos to mean that's the type of facial features and the type of person they are looking for, and then juxtaposed that onto this and went, "I got it. I'm going to sketch it." Anyway, she could be right 9 times out of 10 and wrong on this one. So doesn't mean her work is no good. It just means that this one is a difficult one because we don't have very much. Snapcrackle Pop says, with the light reflection in the eyes, is it glasses? With the light reflection in the eyes, is it glasses? What? With the light reflection in the eyes, is it glasses? I don't know. JDR said, you should get your own stickers for members. We have some. Can members not use them? We've had stickers for like 2 years. I will check into it because we made some when we got the memberships going. Oh, contact lenses. Contact lenses. Oh, okay. I don't know what a contact lens would look like with like a direct light source, like a torch or reflecting light or something like that. Are they under the membership? I don't know where they would be in the chat. It would be under the emojis or something. If it's not there, let me know. I'll have a look into it after we get off. We've had a couple. We had a pack of 10. We could update them though. We could update them. Hey Dragon, how are you? I always thought that those were just dilated eyes. The one thing I thought when I saw this is that it's not a drug user. It's not a drug user because the pupils are so dilated in the dark, and that if this was, say, some sort of drug user, that wouldn't happen. And so I was like, they're obviously not on any sort of like, you any name some drugs that people do, but yeah. Blaze says, do you have the photo where you see a bit more of the mouth? Hey, Lindy, how are you? Pupils are wide open because it's dark. Light is reflected on the back of the eye. There you go, Lindy, eye specialist. All right, you want the one where you can see more of the mouth? Okay. No, that's not what we want. I think you're going to have authorities come out and really smack down that sketch. Unfortunately, I think they're going to say it might be troublesome to their investigation. I don't know if you were all watching the coverage last night. Hands up, who was watching like ABC Family, or not ABC, Arizona Family, CBS 5, Fox 10, any of those last night that were live streaming it when the raid was taking place? How many of you were watching that coverage on YouTube? I don't know if you noticed, but there was a ton of just absolutely slamming people on YouTube. They're like, "Oh, these people on YouTube, they're so damaging to like the crime scene, and oh, they're dangerous individuals covering the case, and us here at CBS 5, we're the gold standard of reporting news." It was disgusting. It showed like how insecure are you? How insecure are you about your own reporting that you're scared of someone with a freaking mobile phone? You got like $1 billion studio, got like 400 reporters, and you're scared of a dude with a freaking mobile phone live streaming on the streets of Arizona. It was a really weak moment by all of those news stations in Arizona there was multiple segments where they were bitching about YouTubers and TikTokers and podcasts, and they were like, "Oh, don't listen to them. It's all false news." And I was like, are you that upset that they're getting more views than you? Are you that insecure?" I thought it was so funny. I was like, "Why are you wasting segment time talking about this?" And it just sounded it came off as elitist, childish, and it felt like they couldn't back up their own work with, let your work speak for itself. Why do you have to go attack other people? It was, really gross by all of them. CBS 5 were doing it, Fox 10 were doing it, uh, KOLD were doing it. It was like it was they had all discussed it and were all gonna do it that night. If you go back and watch the videos from yesterday, you'll see it. It was really so stupid. Um, Sherry said they don't even care about Nancy or the case. You know what I think one of the funniest things is? Um, ABC, CBS 5, that not ABC, Arizona Family, CBS 5. I like their coverage. They do some good jobs, right? But they had their podcast each evening goes for like 25 minutes. And they're like, "Well, we've covered everything from the last 24 hours. We're going to go." In 25 minutes, you covered everything, including the breaking news that's happening right now. Like, yeah, anyway. SPY said it's the mainstream media who left trash and junk everywhere they went. I heard that from a couple of people who were there. Um, hey, Tracy, how are you? Legacy media is useless. Independent journalism is where it's at. News Nation is good. They always use YouTubers for segments. Yeah, News Nation wasn't doing it. It was just some of the local media channels. They were really upset about it. And they're like, "Oh, all those YouTube people, they're fake news." And I was like, "I think it's you guys who have been accused of being fake news. I don't think it's the people on YouTube. I think it's you." Didn't the president, didn't the president of the USA say that you're all fake news? The legacy media, the traditional media, legacy media, not the YouTube people. Yeah, it was very arrogant. Yeah. So I hope all of the YouTubers don't take that lying down and yeah, make yourself known. Kelly says, AZ Family is my local channel. I watch generally. I think mainstream media isn't all that great. I agree. Um, Sherry said Brian Enton is the only reporter I see being respectful and actually caring about the family. I love Brian. He's a great guy. I think he's one of the better mainstream reporters out there. Hey Diane, how are you? Dolly is live now, and Tucson left a bad taste and he went back to Virginia. Dolly did. Dolly Vision. I heard he had a hard night last night. I heard Dolly had a difficult night. And then I'm not sure what happened, but someone told me that he had a really hard stream. And then if he's headed back home to Virginia, I hope is okay. I hope everything's okay. Everything will sort out. It's you know, I'm sorry that happened. SPR said that's because the talking heads all give their orders and say the exact same words in every case. Seen a lot of that with the Nancy Guthrie. Um, yeah, Uh, Rachel said Brian Enton does an amazing job with his coverage. He's one of the more thorough reporters out there. He actually knows what the audience is looking for and he gives that content. Unlike the people who are like, this is a box. We have to fit our information into this square box because we've been doing it that way for 50 years. So we're going to keep doing it like this. And they just never get it that that's not what people want anymore. People don't want that type of coverage anymore. Kelly said supposedly the mainstream media tricked Dolly and JLR to go in the wrong direction or something. Um, I heard that, and that would go into play with what was happening last night on the mainstream media. There were live broadcasts of them absolutely trashing the YouTubers who were in Tucson. I swear, go back and watch it. They were like fake news, and these guys should, not be doing this. And oh, the sheriff doesn't want them there. Sheriff thinks they're bad news. Like they were just being really childish. So if the mainstream media did give Dolly and JLR the wrong directions to go to the next place, and there you go. It just proves it. Cherie said, "How old do you think the guy is? Just by what we can see, I would think he's I think it's difficult to tell, but you would be looking at anywhere from I would say between 20 and 40. And I know it's a huge range, but just based on what we see, I would think that is what you would most likely be looking for, somewhere in that range. I know it's not a great answer. I'm sorry. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Hey, hey, thank you very much. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. Very generous. Thank you. I wish I can we call you a nickname? What is should we call you Ezza Diz? Do you have a shorter name? Can we call you Ezza? I think then we can remember you. But thank you. It's very generous. Kelly said, yeah, they don't like that the YouTubers are there listening and showing them doing interviews on their live streams. Don't like YouTubers following them. Yeah. Hey, Bucking Fitch, CA. Hey, good to see you. Brian said a neighbor of Annie's told him Tommaso took off to Italy within days of the crime. Have we seen him recently? I know that he was pictured in the week after the crime. I don't know what the dates were, but interesting observation. Gail said, I watched an interview with a guy today from last night, and the news station said it was a Brian Enton interview, but it was JLR. What? That's weird. I don't know how that happened. Rachel said, I think the mainstream media doesn't like competition. I agree. I think uh, they don't really like when other people try and do their job. Dragon said, I think he's closer to 40. The way he throws his legs out when he's picking those weeds, you might be right because I'm 40. I turned 40 a year or so ago, and I can tell you, I'm not as flexible as I was when I was in my 20s. And yeah, you might be right. 'Cause I get that where I'm like, oh, you know how you get the old man groan when you go to do something? You're like, oh, hey. It's like, yeah, I get it. Maybe he has the old man groan. RX says, hope all has been well. Back to work. Hey, are you on the third shift again tonight, my friend? Are you on the third shift? Thank you for the super chat, my friend, RX girl. Kelly J said, I got chocolate cake to take home from Outback, and it came with whipped cream, chocolate pieces, and grape jelly. What the hell is the jelly for? I don't know. Is that a traditional American, like, do you guys get that with a chocolate cake? They're like, here's a chocolate cake, here's all your whipped cream, and here's some grape jelly. Is that like a normal? I don't know. It's for diabetes. Yes, that's what it's for. Montana said his pants are wearing out and creaky. His parts are wearing out and creaky a little bit, right? Cherie said, haha, me too. I just turned 40 and starting to hurt. You just notice every day things don't work like they used to. You're like, wait, I used to be able to bend over and touch my toes and pick up this and that. And it wasn't like a huge effort. And then you go, wait, that's not right. Cherie said, Americans do eat some weird shit. Yeah. I don't know about the grape jelly though. Peachy said, big timber rattler folks, they are a nuisance. There you go. All right, let's keep going, my ladies and gentlemen. I'd love if we could find that interview from yesterday. Hold on, let's have a look. Um, I don't think we'll be able to find it because it's like they reset all their coverage on those rolling live streams that they do. You know, those ones that go for like 12 hours and then they open up another one. I think it was on that. Latest details. Yeah, I don't see it. If I do ever find it, I will show it to you guys, but yeah, I don't see it. Um, Arizona Family, CBS 5 are still talking about the DNA test result. That's all they have tonight. They're saying that that is what the FBI are awaiting. So they have no other leads right now. This is it. Yeah, I'll show it to you.
We have new developments tonight in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Investigators have found a new DNA evidence at her home that doesn't belong to Guthrie or anyone close to her. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Jason Barry. It's been 2 weeks since the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie disappeared without a trace from her home in Tucson. Karina is leading our team coverage from the Pima County Sheriff's Department, where we have been waiting all day for a break in this case. There was a lot of activity overnight. Karina, what's the latest? What are you hearing?
Well, Jason, a lot has happened in this case over the last 24 hours, but still no significant updates to report from authorities, despite them serving a search warrant at a home not too far from Nancy's house last night and then conducting a separate traffic stop in connection to the investigation. We'll get into all of that in just a minute, but here is what we do know as of tonight. Authorities are holding off on releasing more details about the search last night until DNA testing comes back, which is expected sometime today, we're told. We can also confirm DNA found at Nancy Guthrie's home did not trace back to Nancy or her family. We also know that no one has been arrested in connection to the abduction. Authorities detained a number of people last night as they followed potential leads, but they did not specify exactly how many. A person was also taken into custody for questioning last night and then released, and that marked the second person taken into custody in this investigation. We told you that it first happened.
There you go. It just sounds like they don't know and that their only play right now is that DNA evidence. But the problem with DNA evidence is you might have it and you're like, "Oh my god, it's not someone that we know." You have to be able to have something to compare it to. With all the people that live in Arizona, all the people that maybe are not on a criminal database, you got to try and find out who who to match it to. And that could be actually a mission that takes who knows how long. And then if you go down the genetic genealogy route, that's multiple weeks of research and it's a long time from now. It's not tomorrow. And that's why I think there's a bit of a problem. Blaze says, never heard of a kidnapper who doesn't want money as soon as possible. Me either. I've never heard of a kidnapper who is like, I'm going to send my ransom note 3 days later. I just wanted to hang out with Nancy Guthrie for 3 days and play, bridge and we play canasta. I took her to a local church on Sunday. Why the delay? So I agree with all of you. Cherie said, I seen with DNA at the scene, they can do some crazy profiling with it now. Pretty much tell what eye color. That is something they might be able to get. Eye color, maybe ethnicity, like where they're from, things like that. Maybe to do a better profile. That may be something they could do. Marilyn said, we'll be in the 50s this coming week and snow finally melting. I'm glad you are getting through the winter. Cherie said, I honestly think the ransoms are garbage. Me too. I don't think they're real. Kim said, I'm enjoying her company, so I decided to keep her. Yeah, I just love hanging out with her so much. We just made a holiday out of it. We went to Cancun. We hung out on the beach. We laughed at the media coverage because, next week I'm going to take her home. I'm going to take her home. We're going to drop her off and I'll meet up with her next year and do it all over again. No, like it's not what's going on. It's not some sort of like, I don't know, hijack holiday. It's something else. And obviously at this point, it's quite criminal. You have a you have a woman who could be very ill right now. Yeah, we went on a cruise. We went to the Bahamas. We hung out, you know, went and saw like Barbados. Like, yeah, that's what we did. And then we went back to Arizona. Yeah, it's very strange, and I think that's why there is so much media coverage, is because it doesn't make any sense. There are problems, there are holes in it. Um, hold on. There you go. Yeah, a lot of problems. Kelly said, I wonder if the ransoms were created after they found out who Nancy was from the news. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They saw it on the news, saw it was going to be a big deal, and decided, hey, we might get some money. And they sent it to the, like, that's the other thing. Why send it to the media when you could have sent it to the family? If you have Nancy Guthrie, you could just contact her daughter and say, hey, I want $10 million. Why on earth would you go, hey, I'm going to contact TMZ? You know, they're the best people to trust with a kidnapping. I'm going to call TMZ and see if they can negotiate the release of a kidnapping victim. So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. All right. There we go. Kelly said true. And as much as people go missing, an 84-year-old in a nice area being taken at night doesn't happen every day. There was an FBI profiler who was on, I think it was Fox, and they were saying the amount of people over the age of 80 taken in a Western country is like 0.00001%. It doesn't happen. not not the normal people who are kidnapped are aged between you know, young teenage. There's varieties of different kidnapping victims. Like children are kidnapped normally by parental figures normally, and it's normally like a custody thing that has broken down and one parent takes them, and that is considered kidnapping. Then there's another section which is more like adult kidnapping. In the adult kidnapping, it's normally young people to people aged in their early 30s. After this, it drops off dramatically. And for someone to be in their 80s and be kidnapped is basically not heard of. Like they just don't have anything to compare it to because it doesn't happen. So, yeah, it's very odd. Kelly said, do you think it was a robbery gone wrong then, Ping? I would have to know what was in the house. What was in the house? We don't know. Was the home ransacked? Were there things missing? Um, how did he get in the home? And did he use like a screwdriver to jimmy the door? Like these are all things you would need to know to come to a conclusion on if it's sort of like your local B&E expert coming around at night to steal your iPad or something. Like that's what, yeah, it's hard to know. Gail said, if I went to kidnap someone and they died when I broke in, I'm leaving them there, right? You would just be like, I'm out of here. They're never going to find me. I'm wearing a mask. I'm leaving. Kim said, yeah, there's just something off. And we just don't know what it is right now. And that's so frustrating. And I think it's frustrating for all the people who are watching at home because it's like, we all know that there's not something right, that there's something here that um we can't explain, but we know it's not correct, and we just don't know what it is right now. Eventually, we probably will find out, but we just don't know at the moment. Which is, I know it's frustrating for you guys. It's probably even more frustrating for Nancy's family. Could you imagine how? So you guys have all been watching every night, watching the coverage, tuning in here, tuning into JLR, tuning into whoever, and you've been following it every day, watching all the news reports. Imagine if that was actually your mum. Imagine if that's actually your mum. That this is the victim. It's your mum. I think you would just be like, did you hear the reporting the other day that Savannah Guthrie told the sheriff that she does not need him, that she's not interested in helping him and doesn't need his help, as she has her own investigators working on it. That's a pretty big insult to the sheriff, but I would be frustrated too after 2 weeks and nothing. Like, you've had 2 weeks to track down my mom and you haven't found anything. I would be very upset too. Crown Royal. Hey, Crown Royal, good to see you. Why are they not setting up search groups? That is a good point, that there's been no real public search efforts for her, like wide scale search efforts. You make a good point. I don't have an answer to that, but it is a good observation. Linux says, I think you look at what police, etc., have not talked about. Who's to gain from Nancy passing? Her house equity will. I know there's a lot of people who think it's someone close to Nancy, and I understand why. I think I think you it's very easy to go there. It's very easy to go to that point because we don't have any other direction right now. Um, you guys all may be right that it is a family member, but I feel like over the last week, the whole family member storyline has sort of cooled off. I think the about a week or so ago, it was very hot. It was like boiling. It was like everyone was talking about it. That was like the go-to topic, but it's sort of fizzled out right now. The whole thing about it being Tommaso and things like that. So we'll see. Danny said, terrifying. If it was my mom, can't blame Savannah and her thoughts. Life insurance, it could be a life insurance thing. Yeah, I'll show you that reporting. Savannah Guthrie told the sheriff. Let me see if I can find that one. Yeah, here. So Savannah Guthrie tells sheriff she has her people and doesn't need him, and that they're saying it's because of the bungled search for her mum. And it says here Savannah Guthrie is seemingly frustrated with local sheriff Chris Nanos, who's in charge of her missing mum. And then they're basically saying that the sheriff tried to message her, and that was her reply, that she does not need him. That is a kick to the balls for the sheriff. That is a kick to the balls. Basically, that she doesn't trust you to figure this out. Linux said a family member may have not done it, but hired someone else to do it, like a hired murder for hire plot. Maybe that has happened a lot in America. Yeah, I've heard that too, that she has hired not one PI, but a team of people. Not one, a team. She has basically her own uh like own police department looking for her mum. I don't blame her. After 2 weeks, I'd be pissed off too. Yep. SP1 said, I hope it's not a crazed fan who's delusional. But then why take the mum? Why would you not take the daughter? What is taking Savannah's mum going to give you? You won't fulfill your sexual desire by taking the mum. And if it's like a sexual attraction for a crazed guy, you're not going to get to Savannah that way. You would be better off taking her. So I don't know if it's a crazed fan. Cherie said, I can understand why she hadn't put out her own dollar reward. Like, why not if be doing nothing, anything? Um, I, I don't know. I'm not sure why she hasn't added any money to the reward. Maybe she feels like spending her money on her own investigators is better than putting out a reward. Could be. But yeah, that's what came out the other day. She told the sheriff that she has her people and doesn't need him. I think that is a hell of a statement to make. Chubby said the bad thing is the FBI won't share evidence with the PI. It sounds like there is some sort of battleground going on between the FBI, Pima County, and maybe Savannah's PI, because I know Brian Enton was reporting that on the ground in Tucson, there's been a lot of talk about a lot of friction between the FBI and the sheriff. And I don't know, they keep saying it's not true, but it keeps popping up in reports that a lot of people are hearing that there is definitely some disagreement between the FBI and the sheriff. So Danny said the sheriff messed up releasing the crime scene. So irresponsible of the sheriff. Should have just locked it down until you have an answer. Until you're done, until you have a home, until you've arrested someone, just keep the house on lockdown. You never know when you're going to need that pristine, in situ crime scene again. Warner still said, "Hey Ping, hey my friend, how are you? Don't you think it must be someone close to the family? I'm talking about a housekeeper, gardener, pool maintenance. They haven't cleared anyone, but they saying that the DNA they found inside the home does not belong to any of those people. So it doesn't belong to the housekeeper, doesn't belong to the gardener, doesn't belong to the pool people that were out last, a couple of days ago. So don't know who that might belong to." Cherie said, "Can't imagine their pain after seeing the guy at the door and knowing that's what their mum woke up to." Right? Isn't that like it's like everything from every scary movie and nightmare that you've ever had. Like, that's all I think about when I see that photo. It is one of the most frightening things you could ever wake up to, except for Michael Jackson at your window, but he's not here with us anymore. We don't have to worry about that ever again. Let me try to go back to that. Where is that photo? We have far too many photos open. There we go. Yeah, waking up to this in the pitch darkness, and this person is trying to hurt you, abduct you, whatever. It's everyone's worst nightmare. It is frightening. Uh, yeah, like when when you go outside your house at night and you're like, I'm going to put the bins on the street for pickup day or something like that. And it's pitch black, like 10 o'clock at night, and every shadow is so dark, you're not sure what's around the corner. This could be around the corner. And that is that part of your brain where you will take this image and it'll probably end up there. And every time you are outside, you might think of this. And it's frightening. It really is. I feel very sorry for Nancy, for her family. It must be very hard. Hey, good to see you. I can't pronounce your entire thing, but I'm going to call you KTM. I've been thinking, not 100% certain, but could the FBI pay this guy 1 Bitcoin, even if it's a scam, and arrest this person for scamming the FBI? And if he's had any actual info, pay him more. It, possibly, but you run the problem of him not being in America and most likely being in a country that doesn't extradite to America. And so you've got problems tracking them down, finding them, getting a foreign law enforcement involved, doing it. Like, you'd have to get Homeland Security and the CIA involved. I think it's they may be already they may already be able to tell what country these demands have come from, even though they used a encryption service to send the email. You can break that. There are ways to break it, and they may have done that already and may know that they're not local. Possibly, I don't know for sure, but you do run into that problem of, if they're not in America, how would you pick them up? And yeah, it becomes a problem of diplomacy with other countries. So I think that's your problem with it. But it's a good idea. It's just, if they're in America, you could do that. I think if it's anywhere else, you can't. Danny said the sheriff should have noticed spots of blood on the front porch. Nancy did not wander off. Yeah, I wonder if they did notice it. They swabbed it and then just went, yeah, that's fine. We got our evidence and just left. Rachel said, how secure are the tip pages at the news stations? Like, not secure at all? Not at all. You could hack them very easily. They're just a web page. So it's a web page and a form. And then that form, when you hit the send button, sends an email. That's all it is. So you write in the little fields and you write your message and then you hit the send button and bang, it just goes to their inbox. That's all it is. So not very secure at all. You can write whatever you want. You could write Mickey Mouse at mickeymouse.com is the person sending the email and there's no verification of that. It's just whatever you want to write in there is fine. You could write like you are from the CIA if you wanted. You could write like, I'm Kash Patel from the FBI. Like, there's no verification. Could it be from Nigeria? If it is a Bitcoin scam, it could be from Nigeria, it could be from Romania, it could be from Southeast Asia. There's a lot of countries that unfortunately have a problem with scammers, not just Nigeria, but Nigeria is a big one, unfortunately. SP1 said, because he's delusional, like the guy we heard about on Web Sleuths, let me find his name. Okay. I will wait for your name. Blaze said, I would freeze if I saw this face at my door. I would not open it. He must have gotten in. And I wonder if they can tell. I said this the other night. I wonder if they can tell if she interacted with her phone around that 1:47 a.m. in the morning. Because if she grabbed her phone and touched it, they would be able to tell that she triggered like the lock on it or, put her fingerprint on it. And I wonder if she interacted with the phone at that time. If she did, she may have known he was coming. Like, she may have known there was someone trying to break into her home. Like, it could have been momentary. She could have heard him pop the lock. And by the time she like felt around in the dark for her phone, he was already there. Very, very scary. Kelly said they can tell if she checked her apps. They can. They can get that information. They call it an interaction. They call it an interaction. Cherie said Nigeria always gets the blame. That's why I tried to tell you that it's not just that area. There are scammers in a lot of countries. Romania, Southeast Asia, um, some of the Middle East, even over in that part of the world, there's a lot of people who do Bitcoin scams, and in Russia and some other places, there's a lot of countries that have problems with people scamming people. Bucking says, to me, it looks like the guy's wearing a mask, latex rubber / Halloween under the ski mask. Well, we thought that he might be wearing two sets of gloves as well. So if he did that to his hands, he might do that to his head to try and avoid being able to be identified. You might be right. Rachel said, I think he got in the back door or the door by the pool. A lot of opportunities on that home to get in. Cherie said they can tell if she even opened it to see the ping from the Nest door camera. They possibly could. Is not visible. That is true that you can't see the ears, right? Hold on. Hold on. Can't find it. I had a like a beanie and it goes really long over the face. I was going to try and do it and see if we could see my ears because I have quite big ears. And I was trying to see if we could see my ears through the beanie, but I can't find it. I don't know where it is. He looks like he has no ears. He does. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Someone's messaging me. No. Yes. By the way, JDR said I sent you a donation on PayPal. You did? That is very kind. Let me have a look. You did, JDR. JDR, that is very kind. And Sean as well. JDR and Sean tonight. Thank you so much. That is very kind. That money will be going to our fund to go to the trial in April. In April, we'll be at a missing woman's trial in Victoria. There is a guy, Patrick Stevenson. He is being charged and put on trial for the death of Samantha Murphy. She has never been located. They have never been able to find her body, but they have a guy who they believe is responsible for her death and disappearance. So we will be heading to that trial in April, and any donations to the channel is helping with that because we're going to be gone for between a month and a half and 2.5 months of trial. So it's quite a endeavor to do these trials sometimes because we have to go for a long period of time. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much to the people who support the channel. And like the people on here tonight, Lisa did. My buddy Joe sent out 5 memberships. Thank you so much, my friend. He became a member too. Essa, I'm going to call you Essa. Essa sent in a super sticker. Thank you so much. JDR was a member for 4 months. Thank you. And Kim says, happy to be here. Thank you very much. And RX Girl says, hope all has been well. It has been. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you as well. Crown says, not sure why they didn't have a security system installed or a medical alert braces, like one of those things, a life alert. Yeah, for their mom. Just the Nest cams weren't working because the subscription wasn't renewed. Do you know we looked it up? Do you know how much it costs to have the subscription for the Google? It's like $10 a month to have the cloud storage for the video. $10. $10. $10 could have been all the difference in this particular case. We would have had a ton of video to be able to track this person down. $10. And I feel like the family must be beside themselves that they never paid it. Because $10 could have been the difference between like having way more video on this guy, knowing if there was a car out the front, all sorts of different things that we could come up with. And they never paid it. So I hope if you have people who in your family who might be a little older, maybe they live alone now, maybe they have lost a partner over the years, and you installed cameras like this for them, and you go, nah, mum doesn't need the cloud storage. She just uses it to see if the Amazon guy is at the door. Like, nah, she doesn't need it. Very unlikely your elderly mother is going to be abducted by someone like this, but is it worth it to not know for what is it, $8 a month or whatever? Maybe pay it. Maybe pay it. I'm sure Savannah Guthrie now wishes she had paid it. So if you have elderly relatives with a camera system, maybe it's something to look into. Kim said it was probably just an oversight. Google gives you like forever to pay again. Like I have Google storage because we have a lot of evidence documents and things from the Supreme Court, and I need more storage in my email. So I pay it for Google One. And if I miss my payment, they're like, hey, if you don't pay us by April, we're going to cut you off like April. They're like 3 months away. So they give you a very long time to pay before they actually clip your service But yeah. Espion said, I appreciate all those that donate. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. You know, the way we do it in this channel is the people that will do it. And the people who can't, they just can't. And we don't bash people for saying that they can't do it. And you know, it's just the way life is. So some people are fortunate enough to be able to help out creators like that. Some do it by viewing the entire video and clicking the ads and liking the videos and stuff like that. They all matter. So that's the way I think of it. And we don't talk about it every 2 minutes. One of my biggest pet peeves in life are the channels that sit here and go, we haven't had a donation in like 10 minutes. I hate those channels and they are freaking annoying. I don't like channels that badger their viewers for it. It's the one thing I said when I made my channel that I would not do. I just can't stand listening to it. SP1 said, my grand reduced to, but now had a lifeline so she can be included. Yeah, those lifelines, those ones that have the like the necklace or the bracelet, they're quite expensive per month. I think they're like 80, 90 bucks a month. They're quite a lot. JDR said they keep bugging you on your email. Yeah, they don't cut you off though. They just keep sending you emails like once a week. It's so yeah, I don't think it was an oversize. Uh Kim said Annie arranged for Nancy's house needs is what has been reported. Yeah, but they may have just thought that she doesn't need it. That the cameras are like, oh, like I said before, she just wants to know who's at the door before she answers it. Or if someone comes around at 9 p.m. when it is dark, that she'll know who is out there without having to, you know, open the door. But they didn't think that she would need 300 hours of, you know, cloud storage or something like that. Snapcrackle Pop says, does anyone believe that she is still alive? I am not sure. I'm sort of in the logical part of my brain tells me that the percentages here for alive and dead are more on the dead part. And I hate to be so cynical like that, but it's just like, you know, when you think of the different percentages, that has to be more prominent now. Does that mean that she is dead? No. There could be a miracle. They could find her. Maybe someone's been looking after her in a home somewhere. That's very possible. But you know, we just have to sort of be realistic that after 2 weeks, the chance of survival gets a lower and lower and lower. You know, that's why that first 48 hours is so important. Gail said she made a post on her Nextdoor app about having a parcel stolen, but it was last year. Interesting. Crown says daughter is worth 40 mil and couldn't afford a life alert necklace. Really? Well, we don't know. Did anyone hear? I think she had an Apple Watch. I don't know if she had a life alert, but I know that she had an Apple Watch. Snapcrackle Pop said being without all her meds, odds aren't in her favor. I agree. SP1 said, same, I'm forever optimistic and hope yes, but very logically unlikely. Yes. KTM said, what are the chances he gets away with this somehow? You've already gotten away with it for 2 weeks. If there's no way they could somehow pin you in a corner, whether they can track down the clothes you're wearing, when you bought them, they have done that with other investigations where they've actually been able to find out. So this person in November last year went to Walmart and bought that backpack. There was a very famous case, I think it was in California, where a guy had sent a bomb to his ex-wife and the bomb blew up and killed her. They were able to take the battery from that bomb and trace it back to where he bought it and have him on video buying the battery. So there are ways that you can do that, but it just takes a lot of time. Like it's months of investigation. So there's always a possibility someone can get away with it. It depends how far they can track them and how cautious the person was with obtaining the items that they are wearing. Maybe, I don't want to give away hints to people that want to do this, but if I was going to do it, I would go to an op shop and buy my clothes for this night because, or something like that. I would get it from some sort of secondhand Facebook marketplace or I don't know, a swap meet where there's no tracking or something like that, where they can't track the transaction, pay in cash. Um, do something like that because that way they can't just go to Walmart and scan through the purchases for that type of backpack or all the balaclava, that type of thing. Yeah, car boot sale. And that's where I'd buy my clothes and then I'd do it like a year in advance and then just sit on it. Yeah, there you go. Some investigations can take a while. That is true. Cherie said JLR went and bought his backpack today and it was behind glass. One of the workers had to assist him to get it from behind the glass door. I wonder why. Um, I wonder why. Is it because a lot of people had been buying it? Yeah, I heard there was something like 27 Walmarts around the area. JDR said, "Did you ever consider Patreon? It takes less of a percentage." Does it? I don't know. Does Patreon take less of a thing? I'll have a look into it. I know some other people do it. Gail said because they are famous now. Okay, they probably make billions of them a year. For $10, they probably have so many. They probably make a lot of them. Let's have a look. All right. The Walmart worker told JLR they recently had the guy's jacket on clearance too. Hmm, that's interesting. So did this guy walk into a Walmart and buy all brand new clothes for the kidnapping? And did he burn them or get rid of them after? That's very interesting. So he bought things that were either cheap or on clearance. So the jacket was on clearance, the bag only cost $10. Hmm, interesting. SPMR said, yeah. All right. Bucking said, killers are dumb. They always go to Walmart and Home Depot. Yeah. Yeah. Don't they watch Forensic Files? If you watch Forensic Files, you never go to Home Depot or Walmart to buy things that you're going to use in a murder or a kidnapping or like there's so many stories on those true crime documentaries where they're like the killer was caught because of something that he bought at Home Depot. Happens every episode. KTM said maybe he didn't buy it. Thoughts? Could have shoplifted it. I mean, there's probably a huge shoplifting thing going on uh, everywhere right now. It is happening a lot because of price rises and cost of living. Theft and shoplifting has gone through the roof. So, Danny said, so he was prepared and planned, possibly. Montana said, How cold is it in Tucson to keep balaclavas in stock at the clothing store?" Um, it's pretty hot in Tucson, but at night it can get quite cold. Depending on what time of year, being that it is winter, it can actually get quite cold in the desert at nighttime. So maybe they would keep it for that. Oh, someone got it for him. I mean, either way, or he may have shoplifted it. Like, that's a good way of not leaving a trail. The Walmart worker said they didn't sell the ski mask, though. Maybe a hunting store or a place that sells that type of thing. Like, I don't know if Arizona has a Dick's Sporting Goods. Dick's would have it if you went over there. They sell that type of thing. So, uh, Ryan said maybe he couldn't afford an 84-year-old woman, so he lifted one. That's exactly what happened. He went, I don't have one of these at home. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go take one from my neighborhood. You know, no one's going to miss her. I'm just going to go shoplift her from her home. See ya, Lisbeth. See ya. Have fun, my friend. It does get cold at night. Yeah. SPM said, yeah, I don't expect a woman at that age in a chair to fight anyone. Was remarking on the camera and Lifeline. She's very independent. No return policy if you shoplift an 84-year-old, obviously can't take it back. Cops will get you. So, yeah, can't do that. Yeah, yeah, you're at the shops and you're like, Mom, can I get that 84-year-old woman? And your mom's like, No, we have 84-year-old women at home. You can have some of that when you get home. We're not buying more. All right. All right. I think it's good. We've had a good night, Saturday night. I don't think there's any breaking news. Let me have a look. Let me have a look if we got anything in the last hour. I don't see anything of importance. Yeah, I don't really see. It's been very quiet this evening. Not like last night. Last night was a lot more busy and we had a lot more going on. We had that raid and people being taken into custody. But tonight, yeah, it looks like the updates are very slow and few in between tonight. The last update from Daily Mail was hours ago. Hours ago, they were talking about Brian Enton. And then, yeah, this one too. Sheriff said man in Range Rover was our person of interest. Well, that didn't work out great, did it? They basically said that the guy, it didn't work out. So there we go. Montana said no disclosures on Gus. I am talking to someone who is deeply involved with the Gus thing. But right now, what we know about Gus is they have a person of interest and they're trying to make charges happen. So it might be a little while before we actually see someone charged for Gus's murder. So, but nothing that I think would be worth reporting. I can tell you that the people who are involved and being named as a suspect have lawyered up. There are lawyers involved now. There people have gone to ground and it is basically now the cops versus them. So we've got to see if the cops can put it all together and get some charges and then find out where they put that little boy. Obviously not in that area. It's somewhere else. So Gail said, I've been watching Australian news on YouTube. Yeah, there is like ABC and Sky News. They are broadcast on YouTube. So, all right. I think we're going to wind up. It's 5 o'clock down here, which means I should probably get going for the day. Let me double check here. Okay. All right. Hey, I want to thank these people, JDR and Sean and my friend Penguin for the donations to the PayPal. I want to thank Joe for becoming a member and gifting 5 memberships. I want to thank Lisa for the super chat and Essa for the $10 super sticker, which is extremely generous. Thank you, my friend. And JDR for being a member for 4 months, Kim for being a member for 2 months, and RX Girl for having a hard night at work. Thank you, my friend. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Wait, tomorrow? No, tomorrow's my day off. I will not see you tomorrow unless something breaks and we have a really, big thing happen in either Australian true crime or something to do with Nancy Guthrie. We don't have a show on Sunday, but I will be back for Monday night. So I will see you then. I'll see you then. That's not good. All right. If something breaks and we have breaking news in the Nancy Guthrie case, I will come back. So even if it's like midnight Australian time, I will come back and hang out with you guys. You just got here, CMP? No. Oh no. Yeah, SPL said enjoy your day off. Mine too. We will go skiing as a family. Okay, enjoy your day off. All right, I love you all. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I would really appreciate it. And hit that thumbs up. We've been trying to get to 200 likes on a video. It hasn't happened yet, but maybe today is the day. Good night, everyone. Bye.